if you have the habit of determining whether or not this person can or will buy before you even ask, then they're definitely not buying because you're not going to ask.
Hey, Craig.
Let's get into some coffee talk.
Hey, I love it. I love doing some coffee talk.
Well, talk about what?
Dogs, daughters, whatever. It's coffee talk.
Coffee talk.
Let's dive in.
Yeah, let's continue that conversation. So on the last coffee talk, we touched on, well, what do we measure, Mr. Jason? Besides our
Everything.
egos?
Track and measure everything.
Everything.
By the way,
Yeah.
what was the name of that? If you didn't read the entire name of that coffee talk, Craig, what was the name of that coffee
I
talk?
have to track it down here. Let me see. That was one of my favorites. Oh, I'm going to have to track it down. See what I did there without even knowing?
I did.
Here we go. It is the previous coffee talk was get on the track and measure train to chugga chugga choo choo away all the pain. I mean, that is Hemingway. So,
Oh, so much fun.
Where
I
does
saw
this
that
stuff
title and
where
was
does it
dying.
come from?
From the madness. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's get back into it. So what
Yeah.
did you want to? I know you wanted to continue. it.
More activity. So we track all of those things of the funnel itself, right? As different people are doing different things on that funnel. But then we also want to really, really focus on our sales team, right? We need to look at them. We have to assign the expectations of them. So it's got to be very clear, right? And then obviously you have your daily meeting, your morning meetings. And then here we've been doing weekly one-on-ones to really push some of the noobs on, just get them moving along the right direction. And that's working out really well because it's helping move them.
Sure.
But with the sales agents or the LSPs, whatever you may call them, we're going to track dials, and we're really concerned or focused on them primarily following up on their quoted, or everybody's quoted. I know in my agency, after a week, everybody's, if they haven't closed it, then it goes to the Shark Tank, right? It becomes a free-for-all to try to move them, to close them a little, push a little harder. And then we're going to track their quotes, and we need to set an expectation on that. We track households quoted, so we don't go by individual quote, although they are held accountable for bundling also. So those quoted households, we have an expectation of 10 quoted households per day, which is, I think in the olden days, old Craig would have been like, that is insane, right? Like we wouldn't do 10 quotes between everybody in the day. Now it's per person. So that changes that. We're going to keep our eye on talk time. What do you like as talk time?
3 to 4.
Yeah.
Minimum.
I push them real hard on 4 because then you get 3. Right. So I've found if I don't hold to 4 and just really push to get them to 4, then, I mean, I don't understand what else they're doing. Really, at the end of the day, it's like, that's half the day. Come on. You get half the day off, basically. So let's make sure that we have good talk time. A script, right? We have the script that both of us follow and developed, but that thing is awesome. It's fire. And we track that. That's part of our one-on-ones. The weekly one-on-ones is going over, though. My sales manager now pulls 3 random calls, and she listens to those before the one-on-one, and she actually grades. She has a checklist. Did they hit on these specific parts of the script? And if they didn't, and one of the big ones is asking for the business. It's crazy how, and I don't know if this has happened. I'd love you to chime in on this, but in our agency, and it seems like it happens a lot sometimes with the consulting clients too. If you don't enforce this, then it doesn't happen. And that's a lot of things, right? But asking for the business, like it's remarkable how many won't ask for the business if you're not on top of them about asking for the business.
I think naturally, unless they have sales experience, nobody does.
Right.
Because the empathetic, normal side of people, where they have a family, they have friends, when you talk to them, you would say, hey, going to the movies and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. If you want to come, just let me know, or whatever, right? That's how you would present it. You wouldn't say, okay, so I'm going to this movie at 4. What time should I pick you up? You know what I mean?
And then shut up.
And then shut up. Yeah. So that would be the salesy way to do it, right? Like that would be the equivalent of the way we sell, but in a friendship situation.
No, it's Jason. We're going to go to Batman
Yeah.
Would you prefer 7 or 10?
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's a big one. And if you don't listen to your calls or you're not coaching your team on that, and they're in a little office by themselves, not out on a floor where you can hear them, I would inspect what you expect, because you may be very surprised with how a lot of these calls end. And I've said it, and I say it a lot in our meetings. When we ask for the business, that's when the call really starts, right? That's when the chess match begins. And many, many, many producers who we've worked with over the years, and Manny does with daily drills. I'm Manny. Major Miguel does with the daily drills in the morning. I know that they struggle with that, with asking. Well, it's triple. I know they're going to say no. You cannot create their answer, right? And in fact, we say this a lot too. We want to make sure that we're asking on every single call, because you're going to create that habit. If you have the habit of determining whether or not this person can or will buy before you even ask, then they're definitely not buying, because you're not going to ask. And we need to practice the proper way of closing the loop on the phone call, which is to ask, shut up, hear the objection, handle the objection, and try to get to the real objection. And then if it's gonzo, that's okay. But we need to get through that part of it. Super important.
Right. Yeah. And I think the point of all this is the tracking and measuring, which is when you start tracking and measuring all these different pieces, it's super easy to tell what's going on.
Right.
Because you have a temperature gauge on 10 different points of your agent. Just knowing where those numbers are, whether it be calls, talk time, all those things, I'll tell you exactly their problem. This. So there's no more guessing, and you can completely determine what the issue is in a snap of the finger, which is a billion times easier than the way it used to be, at least in our office, where we weren't tracking stuff. And it's what's going on? This person can sell and this person can't. It's not they can or they can't. It's they're doing things that are increasing their chances of selling, and the other one isn't.
Yeah.
So
we had a little,
you just gotta work on this thing.
Yeah. A real world example. We had a month that it could have been better, of several new people, and the one that crushes it did well, and the rest didn't do quite as well. And the ones who didn't do it as well, of course, blame the leads. And the response and what we worked through was, well, same leads are going to everybody, and one person's able to write 50K. So it's not the leads, right? There's something in there. And then we back through the funnel. Oh, and to your point earlier, or maybe it was yesterday, which is there's many different areas that can all be improved. So it may not just be one thing, but if, they're doing less transfers, they're doing less quotes, they're making less dials, there's less talk time, they're not following the script quite as well. All of those things compound and create a very negative situation, right? It's going to really amplify how poorly they do.
Right.
Versus where we can turn it around.
You got to track and measure. That's the only way.
And then the close percentage, of course.
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's a
coffee talk. That's sales agents. If you have any questions on that, 520-214-2219 is Jason's direct text message phone. And he will text you back a picture. Let's see ya. Bye-bye.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, Mr. Craig.
That was another awesome episode, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if people want to get a little bit more action and learn how to write 100,000 in premium off of even the worst internet leads, where could they go?
They can go to live.teledudes.com.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Are we going to be there?
Yes. It's a weekly call that we're doing right now it's live, and it will show you the process. The entire process is super awesome.
I love it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sign up right now, live.teledudes.com.
Live.teledudes.com. That's live.teledudes.com.
Hey, Craig, there's a new community that we are starting that I cannot wait to tell everybody about. It is our live texting community where you and I are going to answer people's questions and give them free content, right?
Are you kidding me? We get to talk to them?
Yeah, which is awesome, but they have to opt in. They have to text us at 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
Nice.
Greg, are you going to respond to these texts?
I'm going to respond to them for sure. Live.
I'm into it too. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be our new texting community where we're going to get back to everybody that we can and drop some crazy content, free content, and free the calculator that you just came up with. That's right. The calling calculator, sales material. I mean, everything for insurance agents. This is it. It's the best texting community out there for insurance agents.
Well, what the heck is that number again? I can't remember it.
It's 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
I love it. I'm going to text it right now.
520-214-2219.
All right. I'll see you later, Mr. Jason.
Bye, Mr. Craig.
Wait, do they even listen to this on the radio anymore?
I love it. I love it.
Nice.
All right.